بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد المؤمن القوي خير وأحب إلى الله من المؤمن الضعيف. A strong believer is better, is more proficient, is more skilled, is more capable in all aspects and more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than a weak believer, although both are good. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this body as an amana, this life, this time, this wealth as an amana. Our wives, our children are an amana. These are amana trusts. And these trusts have been created. Inni mukathirum bikumul umam. They have been sent for a purpose. We have been sent for a purpose. And that is to practice on deen, to preserve deen, to protect deen. And part of our purpose in deen is to protect our family, to protect our wealth. Part of that responsibility of protection is also to give them the skill, to give them the experience and the know-how of survival, of self-protection, of self-preservation, because these bodies will be used for Allah's obedience. So firstly, preserving deen, propagating deen. Now when this body is damaged, when it is not preserved, then how will deen be transmitted? So we've been sent for a purpose, to recognize Allah and to introduce mankind to Allah, to save every individual from the fire of Jahannam. So we are assets to humanity. A person of Iman, a believer, is an asset to a non-believer. He is valuable. He is in every aspect. The hukuk, the rights of a neighbor. Doesn't matter what religion, what creed. There are rights in a country. We have to respect every person. We have to respect an animal. We have to respect a tree. Islam teaches us hukuk and rights. So we're supposed to be the best to humanity. Besides externally, the best to be to humanity is to save one from the blazing fire of Jahannam, to save one from the plotting of Shaitan and Iblis, and to benefit humanity, to protect one from this liability of Shaitan and Iblis. But for us to achieve this, we need to be healthy, we need to be fit, we need to be vigilant, we need to be skilled. So where a person is in a situation and a thief puts a gun to his head, the thief's not going to flinch. He's not going to hold back. He's trigger happy. So deen comes with hosh, not josh. When we go into a situation, it's not all guns out, all blazing. No. Assess the situation, understanding the situation. There may be innocent bystanders. We don't want to harm others. What are the rules, the laws of the country? So there's a lot of factors what needs to be done. A person gets into a situation, they did it with Josh, just spontaneously. They get paralyzed for life. We were supposed to do Umrah, we're supposed to do Hajj, we're supposed to be putting this head in sajda. Then the psychological trauma that a person goes through that haunts him. How come with regards to dunya? When I want to set up a business, then I do the proper planning. I find out, I get the lawyers, I get the accountants, I get the auditors, I get the due diligence team. I do full research. I know what I'm doing with regards to that. So when I'm building a house, I get the best architects, the best interior designers, decorators. So we see the importance of all these things. We see the importance of dunya, but ourselves, our family, how much have we prepped them for akhirat? How much have we prepped them for dunya? Situations that may arise. We investing in offshore accounts, beachfront properties. We've got big investment portfolios. We on the stock market. We into cryptocurrency. But ourselves and our family, so we've lost our priorities. Take a simple example. You hire a domestic worker, your gardener. Have we vetted them? Have we checked the IDs? We have done a background check, any history, criminal records, previous employment. Speak to previous, the referrals they're giving you. Which places have you worked for the last 15, 20 years? Our names, our numbers, our location, our details. You employed them. Do you have copies of the IDs, their passports? Do you have details of the city they come from, the town, who's their parents, who's their family, who's their relatives? We need to trace you. We know where to find you. So when things go wrong, then we scramble, helter, then we throw billions. But we were stingy in the beginning. So it's better not to have regrets and this remorse and grief. Not being hands-on has destroyed people's lives just because of our negligence. We're saying it's just a domestic worker. No. You've allowed somebody in the precincts of your privacy. So a believer is first in deen, first in everything. Somebody says, I'm a doctor. We say, no, you're not just a doctor. You're not just a Muslim doctor. You're the best Muslim doctor. Not only you should become an expert in your field, not only master in your field, but in your field when people come to you, they should get closer to Allah. So you've done khidmah to humanity and you've taken people closer to Allah as well. A patient comes, the doctor asks, did you read Salatul Hajjah? Have you given sadaqah? How much dua have you made? Any amal tibbi nabawi have you opted for? And at the end, if he has to prescribe medication, besides that, the doctor who made dua to Allah, he read Salatul Hajjah, Ya Allah, I cannot assess patients, I cannot diagnose properly, Ya Allah, it's from your khazana, Ya Allah, you open up to me this field. So a lot of amal engagement. So when he does prescribe the medication, then he tells the patient that this is asbab wise with regards to me. In others, medication does benefit, doesn't harm. Illness is from Allah, benefit is from Allah, harm is from Allah, health is from Allah. So turn to Allah when you are taking and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Read the dua when taking the medication. Negate it. We need to establish Allah. Somebody came to the doctor, they were in an accident, they're going through trauma. Give them targheeb. He said, you know, why this? Why? Conditions are from Allah. So now this patient became patient. So not just a doctor. I'm the best Muslim doctor in all aspects. Like that in every field. The people of Iman, in whichever field they engage, they set a standard. So we have a responsibility, and Allah has told you that your family is a responsibility. The akhirat is a responsibility. The dunya is a responsibility. Preservation is a responsibility. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. Oh people of Iman, if you really have this Iman, then you will save yourself, your family from the fire of Jahannam. وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةِ. The fuel is men and stones, boulders, rocks. عَلَيْهَا مَلَائِكَةٌ. Warning now. مَلَائِكَةٌ غِلَاظٌ شِدَادٌ لَا يَعْصُونَ اللَّهَ مَا أَمَرَهُم. You got a big responsibility. They are angels that have been appointed. They stern, they severe. They do not flinch from executing the commands of Allah. They do what they are told. So a believer in all aspects in his deen and his dunya, he's the first. Ali ibn Abi Talha reported that this ayah, work in obedience of Allah, avoid the disobedience of Allah, and order your families to remember Allah. Then you will be saved from the fire. Do this year, then this year. So akhirat we got steps. For our dunya, what steps do we have? Mujahid has commented, Qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. Have taqwa of Allah and order your family to have taqwa. Are we commanding them for their deen, for their dunya also? Simple things, like we mentioned the example now. Qatada has said here, Allah commands ita'at, obedience, and not to disobey Him. And He's commanded that the family also should obey Allah, obey the commands of Allah. When you see anybody disobeying Allah, any of your family, you need to do something about it. When you see negligence, simple safety precaution measures, we need to bring it to their notice. They need to go for training, they need to learn the skill. So the Haq has mentioned that it's obligation for a Muslim to teach his family members, his near family members, even his male and female slaves, the obligations of Allah, and what has been forbidden. So how much deen has come into us. If we don't even worry about our deen, our akhirat, we're going to worry about our dunya. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam was very strategic. So the Baytullah was in Makkatul Mukarrama, effort was made on Iman, but strategy in place now, we need to make hijrat. So Medina became the base of operation, it was a strategic location. That was where the caravan routes from Mecca to Syria, it constituted an economic lifeline, because Mecca thrived, this trade route was their lifeline, and it was dependent on the caravans for trade. So economically, what they needed to survive and what strategically you need to implement. Likewise, the distance from Mecca to Medina Munawwara was sufficient, and the area now to cover the surrounding areas. So you put negative propaganda, but it won't reach the Bedouin tribes, it won't reach the caravans. We will do what we need to do with regards to da'wah, we'll do what we need to do to infiltration, we'll do what we need to have conversations and create political alliances. So what are the factors strategically for us to achieve success? So Nabi alayhi salam had the knowledge of the different tribes, the alliances, the battle Badr took place, reconnaissance of the battlefields, what we're getting into, information of the enemy locations, what advancement was needed. So the clans, the tribes, the different blood relationships, Nabi alayhi salam made such an effort on Iman and Akhirah. Allah consolidated all of this and it became an ummah. Kuntum khayra ummah. We became a ummah. So a system under the law, under the command of Allah, under the governance of the awamir of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this ummah also was strategic, because there were the Bedouins, there were the tribes, there was the different clans, the different cavalries, the different nomadic warriors. These situations were consolidated into an ummah, and it created one shift into a composed, social, integrated society. Doesn't matter what your color, doesn't matter what your background, doesn't matter what your clan, doesn't matter what your tribe. So steps needs to be implemented. The people of Iman are strategic. So few steps. Step number 1, responsibility. I am responsible. One is deen wise. So I read my morning and evening du'as. I read my Ayatul Kursi. I read the dua for leaving home. I read the Fajr Salat with Jama'at. فَوْفِي ذِمَّةِ. I said Salatul Ishraq. I read Surah Yasin. Likewise, externally, I am responsible for my own security, my family's security. I'm responsible. I need to make them responsible. These security measures that needs to be implemented. This is a founding stone. It's a cornerstone. It's a foundation. So responsibility. I am responsible. Not the security company, not the electric fence. That's a separate aspect on its own. Number 2, precautions. So once I am responsible, what precautions do I need to take to implement? The person stops at a robot. Are you still busy on your phone? Are you still chatting? Are you still oblivious? Are you watching the mirrors? Are you looking at your surroundings? Have you kept safe distance between the car in front of us? If I need to move, do I have a off-road? Do I have a SUV? If there's a pavement, can I go? What security measures have you taken in place? So when a person is in this transition, when you're going from one place to another, then you are mostly vulnerable. So from your car to work, home, madrasa, masjid, people go out jogging, people go take out the refuse. So these are locations where a person is at risk. Now what precautions? So a thumb rule is people who look like good victims are good victims. So you are on your phone, smash and grab easy. Your bag is there next to the door. You get out of the car, you don't check around your parameters. Anybody there, anybody hiding? Are they going to jam the signal? You just go press the button without looking at your car if the doors are locked. So you look like a good victim, so you can become a victim. Allah save one and all. So generally a victim encourages crime. We might be in denial, we might say no, it's not like that, and no, part of it is the victim has encouraged the oppression and the dhulm. So when somebody does make somebody a target, then it is based on what we contribute, what we promote. Like in the olden days, you kept the outside lights on and you went for holiday. Now in the day, if somebody has to drive by and the lights are on, it's a marker. And a criminal likes a easy solution, a easy prey. If he can get a $10,000 compared to $1,000, but one is difficult, one is easy, he'll go for the easy one. So when a person leaves his home, he leaves the windows open, he walks down the street, he's flashing with his Rolexes, he's negligent of his environment, we invite in trouble. Number 3, am I proactive or reactive? So if you are forced in a reactive situation, are we proactive? Am I I've planned for it? So am I seen? What people are following me? Is someone, when I come into the driveway, what am I doing? How do we enter? When I get out of my car, what processes have I got in place? When I stop at a stop sit at a robot. So all these situations. Number 4, resources. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us access to resources. How much have we expounded and utilized these resources? So these are bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but how much have we taken benefit from these resources? So we need to learn to take advantage. We need to learn how to utilize it to our own benefit. So whether it's inshallah we will get into that, but whether it's alarm systems, whether it's your lighting, whether it's CCTV camera, whether it's self-defense, etc., a person must use the resources. So identifying where's the danger zone, where's the paranoia zone, where's your sensible zone, what's the level of risk, and what precautions I need to take. So in every action there is a element of risk. So not only in the crime side, but a simple thing like in every room of our house, do we have any firefighting equipment? Do we have fire blankets? A simple thing. So people do very advanced security systems. Let's say the power goes, the fire, there's a fire. It's so secure you can't even get out of your house. House is so secure you can't even get out of your house. Somebody who there was a robbery and they put the person in a freezer and he died because there was no way access. If they had to put him in the freezer, there was no way, he didn't know how to escape from the freezer. So people in their own houses die because we've not taken the means. Your taqdeer is on its place, but asbab wise we need to be prepared. Where the person is filling a bathtub and in negligent of the children, the pool, we leave it open, family come, a dead body floating, taklif for everybody, inconvenience. Yes, taqdeer is there, we're not denying it, the time of death was written, but the guilt and the consequences which people live after that. So do I walk through alleys, do I put myself in that situation, what are the risk activities, etc. So a person should maximize, don't put themselves in a situation where we can ambush we can be in an abandoned alley. Number 5, constant awareness. So a person self-protection, self-preservation is an attitude of the mind. It's governing oneself. It's taking a person to that level where a person knows what's around them, not being selected as a target. People must look at you and say, you know what, he's too difficult, we'll bypass on this one here. It's not worth it. So don't be selected as a target. So it's simple. It's just not about getting a pepper spray. It's about the mindset. It's about identifying the risks and the situation. Number 6, expectation. Expect the best but prepare for the worst. So whether it's an accident or whatever else it is, but whatever the threats are, the areas, the hiding places for people to come, the routes, are you taking the same routes, ideal parking spot, better lit areas at night, closest police station. There's so much things which you need to keep in mind. So expectation, where there's a threat, we know there's a threat. So they say one is the ABH mode, avoid being hurt, ABH, or head behind a hazard. So you are ahead, whatever you know you've do it. And number 7, accumulation and recognition. So whatever data we are accumulating over this time, we identify these points, we prepare, we identify the threat. So stress, a person is in a stressful situation, makes them blind. Pedestrians get knocked off all the time. Careless driving because of the cell phone, etc. So people are generally wide asleep. People are wide asleep. So there was a story of a king, and he wanted, he didn't have any children, so he wanted an heir. So they said, all the youth of the country come, all the youth got together. He built a palace, he built a puzzle there, and he said, whoever opens this door will get the kingship. All of it be a youth of the whole country came, then neighboring countries, nobody were eligible. Then he said, okay, the elderly people above so much age, now it's open to you. Everybody came, everybody failed. There were 3 people left in the kingdom who didn't come. The first, they summoned them. Now last 3 people left. The first 2 were trying. One youngster was, the king went to him and said, why are you not trying to solve the puzzle? He said, you know what, there are so many people that are eligible, I'm not worthy of it. So let them try. If they fail, then I'll try. So they failed. He went there and he opened the door. People were shocked. Puzzle, how did you manage to crack the formula? He said, very simple. There was no puzzle to solve. There was no puzzle to solve. Moral of the story, be observant, be humble. Don't rush, don't have hosh. Don't have Josh, have hosh. Be calculated. Sometimes the solutions are simple, but we complicate it. It was a very simple solution. So in that situation, if we know, we've been trained, we've been through the different challenges which we face in life, we think so it's difficult. It's not so difficult if a person has prepared accordingly. So somebody's got a bodyguard, he's got an armored vehicle. It's a solution. Probably, assalamu alaikum, chitti. Now I'm settled out. No kidnappers will come. Nobody will worry about my wife, my children. They will not look at the route where I'm vulnerable. When does the shifts change? Which vehicle is in? What does he do on a Saturday? What does he do on a Sunday? So sometimes we just choose asbab and we suffice with that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq of understanding and making amal. The amal for today is man salaka tariqan yaltamisu fi ilman, to engage with the ulama, to spend time with the ulama. That's an avenue to make our Jannah easy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq of making amal. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.